Hello guys, welcome back to Ramsey's Myth and Magic Corner, where we discuss mythology, science fiction, and all sorts of amazing stories. You've heard the name Icarus, right? The ball who flew too close to the sun. But beyond that story, beyond the feathers, the fall, and the ocean, there's someone else, a father, a builder, a genius, who couldn't escape his own creations. This is the story of Daedalus, the man who turned imagination into wings and paid the price for it. Let's get it. Long before the wings, Daedalus lived in Athens, a city alive with stone dust, sunlight, and ambition. His statues didn't just look real. People whispered they were real. Eyes that seemed to move and nostrils that almost breathed. They said Daedalus had stolen the secret of life from the gods. Maybe he did. Or maybe he was just that good. But brilliance has a price. His nephew predicts this young prodigy started inventing things that even Daedalus hadn't thought of, or saw shaped like a fish spine, a compass for perfect circles, and suddenly the master didn't feel like a master anymore. Jealousy is a quiet thing. It starts as a whisper and ends as a shove. And one day, on a high cliff over the sea, Daedalus did the unthinkable. He pushed his nephew. The gods didn't let the boy die. Athena turned him into a bird, a partridge, to live but never soar too high. Daedalus, though, he couldn't escape that moment. He fled Athens, and from that day, his genius always came with guilt attached. Daedalus found his way to Crete, the island of King Minos. The king welcomed him like royalty, and for a while, Daedalus built wonders, machines, palaces, sculptures that caught light like they were alive. Then came the task that would make him a legend, the labyrinth. Minos needed a praising for a monster, half man, half bull, a creature born from a curse, the son of his wife Pasiphae and the sacred bull of Poseidon. Minos couldn't kill it, so he hid it. Daedalus designed a maze so complex that no one who entered could ever find their way out. It was brilliant and it was terrible, because the maze didn't just trap the monster, it became the grave for innocent lives. Every year, 7 boys and 7 girls from Athens were sent into the labyrinth as sacrifice, as a punishment for Athens' rebellion against Crete. They were offered to the Minotaur one by one until none returned. Then came Theseus, a prince who refused to die quietly. He volunteered to enter the maze not as an offering but as an end to the curse. Daedalus, watching it all unfold, couldn't stand by. He helped him secretly by giving Theseus a ball of yarn, a way to trace his path back out of the labyrinth. When Theseus returned alive, Minos knew who had betrayed him, and Daedalus, once the king's prized craftsman, became his prisoner. Locked high above the island with his son Icarus, Daedalus faced the same question he asked all his life. How do you escape what you've built? Up there in that lonely tower, Daedalus found his next idea in the simplest thing: birds. Every day he watched them glide over the ocean, wild and free. He started collecting feathers, big ones, small ones, whatever the wind brought. Piece by piece, he built wings not for glory, but for escape. He lured birds close with crumbs, sealed the feathers with melted candle wax, and fastened them to strips of lining. When the wings were done, he turned to Icarus and said, "Don't fly too low, or the waves will drag you down. Don't fly too high, or the sun will melt the wax. Stay in the middle, that's where the wind is kind." And then they jumped. For a moment, they were gods. They soared over the blue, laughing and alive. The world below was small and silent. But Icarus, he wanted more. As he climbed higher, the sun got closer, and Daedalus could only watch as the wax began to melt. The feather tore loose, and Icarus fell, screaming, weightless, and in an instant he was gone. When Daedalus reached the shore, the sea was quiet again. They called it the Icarian Sea, the place where dreams and warning meet. Daedalus eventually found refuge in Sicily under King Daedalus. He built again, small wonders, gentle ones, the kind that didn't hurt anybody. But Minos, he never forgot. He sailed across the sea hunting for the man who had outsmarted him. He brought a challenge. Thread this string through a spiral seashell, he said, a test only Daedalus could solve. Daedalus tied the thread to an ant, used honey to lure it through, and just like that, his cover was blown. Minos demanded his surrender. Cocytus agreed, or pretended to. He invited the king to a bath, a moment of comfort before the capture. But when Minos stepped in, the steam rose, the heat grew, and he never came out. Daedalus cooked that one. Daedalus lived on, but not as the man he once was. He didn't chase fame anymore, didn't build for kings. He built quietly and thoughtfully by the sea where his son had fallen. People remember him as the genius, the inventor, the builder, and the father of flight. But that's not the full story. His story is a mirror, showing what happens when brilliance forgets its balance. He flew, yes, but he also lost what he loved the most in that moment, and that's what makes him human. The myth of Daedalus isn't just about wings and wax. It's about how far we will go to be free and what we lose when we forget the cost of touching the sky. This is Ramsey's Myth and Magic Corner, and this is the story of Daedalus. Stay tuned as we bring you more interesting stories. Ramsey's out.